All right, so if you're a creative person, you know the dream, right? You want to turn that thing you love doing, your passion, into your actual job. But here's the thing nobody really warns you about. There's a huge danger in that dream, and that's the risk of completely burning out and losing the love for the art itself. So today, we're going to get into how you can build a real, sustainable career that actually protects your passion for the long haul.
I mean, we've all heard this quote, haven't we? It's on posters, it's all over the internet. And yeah, it sounds amazing, but for so many artists, it's a total trap. The reality is, when your passion becomes your paycheck, you work harder than you ever have before. And that pure, simple love you had for creating, it can start to slip away. And that's the exact problem we're going to unpack right now.
So, how does this actually happen? How do you go from loving your art to dreading it? Well, it's a predictable and honestly kind of heartbreaking pattern that I like to call the artist's burnout cycle.
It all starts from such a good place, right? Just pure joy. You're making stuff just because you love to. But then you start to monetize it, and poof, suddenly it's a job with deadlines and expectations. Pretty soon, you're taking commissions, and you find yourself creating what other people want, not what's inside you. And this is the danger zone. That love can start to turn into resentment. Your art feels more like a heavy burden. Until finally, you hit a wall, you burn out. You either quit completely or just feel totally disconnected from that creative spark that used to fuel your whole life. Okay, so we've seen the what of the cycle. Now let's really dig into the why. Why exactly does turning your passion into a business create so much crushing pressure? And here's the absolute core of it. When your art is the only thing paying your rent and buying your groceries, every single creative decision you make suddenly becomes a financial one. The pressure to sell changes the entire game. You can't just afford to play around or experiment anymore. You have to make what you think people will buy, and that can just suffocate your creative freedom. Wow, and this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? Before, your art was your playground, a space for pure self-expression. After you monetize, it can easily become a cycle of soul-draining commission work where you're just a pair of hands executing someone else's idea. And you're left with this real grief, this feeling of loss for what used to be your most personal escape. But listen, it doesn't have to be this way. This isn't a death sentence for your creativity. It's not about never making money from your art. It's about being really, really strategic about it. So let's look at some smart models for building a career that can actually last. So the foundational strategy, the place to start, is what we're calling the two-income model. And this just means having a day job to cover your bills, at least in the beginning. And I cannot stress this enough. This is not failure. This is a brilliant strategic move. Why? Because it takes all the financial desperation out of the equation. It allows you to create freely without that nagging pressure of needing to sell every single thing just to survive. And look at how beautifully this slide breaks down the roles. The day job is there for stability. It pays the bills. It gets rid of that desperate, I have to sell this feeling. And what does that do? It builds a protective wall around your art. It leaves your art as a space for joy, for gradual income growth, and for complete and total creative freedom. You see, one serves the other. Okay, so once you've got that stability, you can level up to what's called the portfolio approach. Seriously, think about it like investing. You'd never put all your money into just one stock, right? Of course not. The same idea applies to your creative income. You build multiple streams of income to create a business that's resilient and stable. So what does that actually look like in the real world? This chart is a great example. Maybe about 40% of your income comes from that steady commission work. But look, a full 30% is from selling your own personal art, the stuff you're really passionate about. Then you sprinkle in some passive income like digital products or prints, and maybe a little bit of teaching on the side. This mix, this diversification, is the key to sustainability. The financial strategy is one half of the puzzle. The other half, and honestly, this might be even more crucial, is setting firm, non-negotiable boundaries. This is how you actively stand up and protect your creative energy. First up, time boundaries. And this is huge. You have to separate your creation days from your business days. When it's a creation day, that time is sacred. No answering emails, no doing admin stuff, just deep, focused creative work. And yes, even as a free-spirited artist, you need set working hours, and you have to respect your time off. Next, let's talk project boundaries. This is where learning to say no becomes your superpower. You have to be selective about the work you take on.
Learn to spot those red flags, like a client who wants total creative control or who tries to lowball your prices. Saying no to a project that you know will drain you isn't a loss. It's a massive win for your long-term creativity. Now this one is all about protecting the heart of your actual practice. Creative boundaries mean you decide that not everything you make has to be for sale. Keep a sketchbook that's just for you, just for messing around and experimenting. Always have a personal project going that has zero client input and zero commercial pressure. This is your creative wellspring. You got to keep it full.
And finally, emotional boundaries. This one's deep. It's about consciously deciding not to tie your self-worth to your sales figures or the number of likes you get online. Your identity as an artist is so much bigger than your business outcomes. You have to fiercely protect your mental health, take real breaks, and unfollow any accounts that make you feel that ugly twinge of comparison or self-doubt.
All right, we've got our financial strategies. We've set our boundaries. Now let's talk about putting systems in place that create efficiency and help you avoid burnout before it even gets a chance to start.
Here are 4 absolute game changers. First, batch your work. So instead of creating one thing at a time, create a whole bunch, or schedule a month of social media content in one afternoon. It saves an incredible amount of mental energy. Second, lean into passive income. Things like prints or digital downloads, create it once, sell it over and over. Third, automate everything you can. Email responses, product delivery. And finally, and this is so important, treat rest as a non-negotiable part of your strategy. Actually schedule it on your calendar.
Okay, let's bring all of this together. All of these things we've talked about, the financial plans, the boundaries, the systems, they're all in service of one ultimate goal, protecting the joy of creating so you can play the long game. And this right here, this says everything. Success isn't about one viral moment or one massive sale. It's about building something that can sustain you, both financially and creatively, for years and years to come. It is absolutely a marathon. So, how do you actually run that marathon without giving up? You make those personal projects non-negotiable. You constantly check in and reconnect with that original love that made you start in the first place. You stay curious. You try new things. You choose community over competition every time. And you make a point to celebrate every small win along the way. So let's just throw out that old definition of success, okay? It's not about being the most famous artist or the richest. Real success is looking up in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and realizing you're still making your art, you're still paying your bills, and, most importantly, you still love it. That's the win.
And that brings me to you. I mean, this is a challenge every single creative person on the planet faces. So my question is, how do you do it? How do you find that balance between the need to make a living and the need to make art that you genuinely love? Share your strategies, your tips, your own boundaries in the comments below. Let's get a conversation going and learn from each other. Thanks so much for hanging